Hello reception. Yesterday we were busy scientists and we explored what would happen when we rolled a car on different surfaces. Can you remember what a surface is? I'd like you to pause the video and tell your adult. I wonder, can you remember some of those special words that we used to describe a surface? What was the word we used when a surface had no bumps? Smooth. What about when the surface had lots of little bumps? Rough. Good job. We can also describe a surface by its size. Can you think of some describing words for size? Pause the video and see if you can share them with your adult. You might even challenge yourself to write some down. You could describe the surface as big or small. Other words you could use is wide and narrow, or you might want to say large and little. Can you try these words? Big, small, wide, narrow, large, little. Today we are going to investigate what affects a material when it falls. Can you say that new word? Effect. Effect. Effect means something that makes a change. Can you tell your adult, what does effect mean? Our question to investigate today is what affects the speed that paper falls at. So for this experiment, you're going to need to have a piece of paper. When I say go, see if you can find a piece of paper with your adult. Off you go! I've got my piece of paper here, and to begin my experiment, I'm going to drop the piece of paper like normal. What do you think will happen when I let go of the paper? Pause the video to share your answer. My next question for you is, do you predict it will fall fast or do you think it will fall slowly? I predict that when I let go of my paper like this, it's going to fall quickly. I think this because there's only a narrow piece of surface that has to push through the air. Let's watch to find out together. Ready? Off we go! When I let go of the paper that time, it fell quite quickly to the floor. It went straight down. This time I'm going to do it again, but drop the paper in this position. Pause the video to share your prediction with your adult. Do you think the paper will fall faster or slower, and why? I predict it's going to fall slower because this time the surface is wide. All of this surface needs to push through the air as it falls. Let's find out together if we're right. Ready? Off we go. When I dropped the paper in this position, it fell slower. It gently floated its way down to the ground. I wonder what else might affect the way the material falls. I'm thinking that when it's windy outside, the leaves blow and swirl around before they hit the ground. I wonder what would happen to paper if air was blowing at it. Shall we try together? For this part of the experiment, I'm going to use a hairdryer. A hairdryer blows out air. Do you think the air blowing at the paper will make it fall faster or slower? Pause the video to share your prediction. I predict the hairdryer blowing air is going to make the paper fall slower because the air is going to push it all around instead of letting the paper fall straight down. Let's see what happens together. Ready? Off we go! In my experiment, the paper fell the fastest when it was in this position. That was because this was the most narrow part of the paper to push through the air. When I had the paper in this position, the surface was a lot larger. The wide surface had to push through all the air. When I dropped the paper with the air blowing out of the hairdryer, it made it swirl all around, so it took a lot longer to fall to the ground. Today I have learned that a narrow surface can push through the air faster than a wide surface. I'm going to use this information to make a paper plane and see how fast it can fly through the air. Next, I'm going to share with you a video of how you can make a paper airplane at home too, so you can try this experiment. You need a piece of paper and you're going to fold it in half. A good trick when you're folding it in half is to match the corners first before you run your finger down the side. So find the two corners, match them very carefully, and then you can run your fingers down the side. Next, you're going to take the top corner and fold it very carefully so that it's lined up with the edge on this side. Again, match your corner, hold it down with your finger, and then very carefully run your finger to press it down. Turn your paper over and do the same thing on the other side. Match the edges, hold it with your finger, and then press down along the edge. Your next step is to get the edge to join along with the bottom edge. Very carefully try and match them so that they're nice and neat before you run your finger across the top. Press quite hard when you're running your finger to make the edges nice and tight. Then you're going to turn your paper around and do the exact same thing on the other side, matching the edges very carefully before pressing along the top with your finger. The next fold is even trickier again. You're going to very carefully join the edges one more time, but now the paper's getting thicker, it's getting a little bit harder to fold. But just keep being very careful matching the edges before you run your finger across. Then you're going to do the exact same thing on the other side. Very carefully matching the edges. Hold it down with a finger and then run your finger along the top. And now you've designed your airplane. Catch the middle parts and lift it up. Pull out the wings a little bit. And that is your dart paper plane. Now that you've learned how to make a paper airplane, you might want to challenge yourself to see if you can make a plane using a different material. For example, you could make a plane using foil. You could fly both of the airplanes to see which one flies faster and which one flies slower. Maybe you want to try a different design to mine. Upload your picture or video to Xsat so that you can share your experiments with your teachers. We'd love to see them. Have fun!